engage your whole body so that you're using your body to help you sing stronger, higher, more passionately for longer periods of time.
Hi, I'm Matt Marvoglio, Dean of the Professional Performance Division at Berklee College of Music. Welcome to When Music Works. Today our featured artist and faculty member is Donna McElroy. Donna is a powerful singer and an associate professor in the voice department. She's going to talk to us about practicing for performance. So let's go see Donna and get ready to sing. Hey Donna, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
Tell us about our voice lesson today. What are we going to do?
I mainly like to work with people who have some of the basic skills down, you know, the scales and the intervals, and usually I like for our student to come to me rather warmed up already, so that we're going to work on a little bit of the warm-up skills, but I like to move well into the performance end of it and using the application of the technique that I teach in the performance.
So we're going from the lesson into the performance, how to get there.
Yes.
What are some of the basic things that you need to know to get into this? You said some of the intervals and things. Are there some basic exercises, classical exercises, that you would expect some people to be able to do?
Oh, yeah. As you come up in choirs and with classical teachers, you're always going to do the scale and the scale up to the ninth.
So we won't be doing that. You'll expect people to.
That's right.
Right.
That's
There's a chromatic thing that I always hear too. Isn't there a chromatic triad thing or whatever people are?
Yeah, that kind of stuff I think is kind of basic.
Right. Okay.
We will do a touch of that today, but I think that's like I said, that's warm up for your lesson to come to me.
Right.
You know.
We're going to do some vowel exercises. Right?
Yes.
Vowel exercises, some moving.
Vowel exercises and moving, and mainly taking that big breath that you took and getting your body more involved in using it while you're doing the vowel exercise, while you're moving, while you're thinking about the lyric, while you're winking at the lady, or while you're, you know.
What other things will we do? I know I'm a flutist, and there's different voices that you have when you play the flute, the different registers.
Yes.
We talk about break in the register. Are there similar kinds of regions in the voice when you're singing?
Yes. As you'll see, we will do a lot of manipulation. I call it manipulation. It's been called yodel.
You don't need any costumes for the yodel, do you?
No.
Oh, good.
But it's been called the yodel, and I usually have students who have a yodel or a radical break in registers, and though I teach merging the two, I also teach learning how to manipulate them and use them stylistically in the pop music or the jazz music or the R&B music or the gospel music that you're going to be singing.
What is the bottom region of the voice? Is there such a thing as the bottom region or the lower region?
The lower region, yeah, that's usually customarily called the chest. And then there's a little region called passaggio where it's difficult to stay in chest because you want to flip over to your head voice.
So it's a transition point.
It's a transitional point, which for most people has a 2 to 3 note area where it's kind of like you got to be careful where you key a song.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So when you're looking for a key, you have to make sure that the passaggio doesn't interrupt with the tessitura. Is that it?
Right, unless you want it to.
Unless you want it to.
Unless you want it to. There are some songs that you put them in the key so that when you hit a certain note, it will flip you over into the head voice.
When students come to you, do they come with a preference of singing in one region more than the other, singing in the head voice or in the lower region?
It's according to the student. Many students have been trained classically, and so they tend to stay in the head range or the more operatic application of their voice. Then many students come, I get all kinds. So many students come and they tend to key everything very low so that they won't have to even approach that break that sends them into the head range. With all students, however, because the operatic student is having a desire to sing less operatically, to sing more pop, apply more pop. And the person who is singing with a lot of chest is usually needing that operatic warm-up, the technique, to help them merge the two voices. So I just basically teach merging, vocalizing chromatically downward
Oh, okay.
into the chest voice rather than trying to drag chest up into your head range, and then you're going to always have that, you're going to hit a brick wall.
You know, in classical music, as a wind player, we're always told that you should emulate singers or string players. You know?
Yes.
And when you do it in classical music, there's that constant vibrato that's always happening, you know, that full delivery and whatever. And when you listen to jazz or pop artists, you know, you hear a very small amount of vibrato, maybe a bit at the end of the note here and there.
Yes.
It's used as an ornament.
Yes, it's used as an application.
And an
That's what I
application.
call vibrato. When I'm teaching it, I teach it being used and applied in a certain area for more expression.
Right. Do you find that some students naturally do it and in a singing style depending upon what they're listening to, or do you have to teach that, or?
Many people, you have to teach it.
Yeah.
And people who have a great vibratic sound already don't know how they're producing it. So I spend a lot of time concentrating with the student on where the source of that vibrato is.
Which is the diaphragm.
The way I teach.
Right.
There are some teachers who would disagree, but
Well, in wind playing, it seems we do the same too. It begins with the diaphragm and then it goes up depending how fast it goes and how tense
that's
it
right.
gets.
That's right. And also how wide it is.
That's
How
true.
wide the space is between
Right.
the lower and the higher end of
Right.
the vibrato.
You can really hurt yourself trying to do a very wide, fast vibrato. Huh?
You can really.
So what kind of practice routines are we going to see today? Are you going to get into some of the vocal health, like if you're doing gigs?
Yeah, I try to stress that students not just walk up to the gig and start singing, but that they spend some time humming and warming up and sending a lot of air through the vocal cords and making sure that there's whatever throat clearing that they have to do, that they're doing it through singing and bringing up the mucus, the fluid,
Right.
and then kind of adjusting instead of going, you know, the big honking cough.
That's why it's hard to get a singer singing before, say, 11 in the morning or so. Huh?
That's right. That's
you have to
right.
really prepare yourself.
And this guy we're going to work with is he does a lot of gigs. He does a lot of gigs around town, and he's always singing late at night in smoky places. Even though he doesn't smoke himself, he might as well, because he's
smoking everybody
smelling,
else's.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, let's get started. This would be great. I guess we can all sing along with this too.
Sure.
As you're doing things with the students, sing along and shadow what's going on.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Okay, great. Let's get going.
Okay. Okay, so this is Jason, and our accompanist is Dan Snape. Dan, say hi to the folks. Jolly good. And Jason is going to be my test student today. So I start off in the lesson talking about breath and breathing and taking in a lot of air. And I usually turn the student around and I press very, very tightly against the rib cage. And I say, take in the longest, slowest breath and fight against my hands as you possibly can. Now see how that feels, and we stay there in that position for a pretty good while. And then I have them do that several more times. This may go on for the whole semester. I'm just doing this breathing exercise, this breathing contact resistance exercise, where I'm teaching the ribs to stay expanded. Even though you're running out of air, your ribs can stay in that expanded, that totally inhaled position. And then whatever you sing, you don't have to deflate and then get back right, spend the whole song huffing to get back into position. You are in singer stance. That's what I call it, singer stance. So that causes you to have much more flexibility with this muscle, which is the diaphragmatic muscle, right in the middle of your rib cage area. just below the breastbone. And when you breathe in, that is kind of lowered down and it clamps, and then you push it as you breathe. You learn how to control how much you push it and how little you push it and how intensely you contract it, so that can cause you to project more or to speak very, very softly but very intently. And it also helps when you're doing singing that is not necessarily loud, but it's not necessarily soft either. It's very intense singing, kind of like this. So we're going to start with a warm-up, Jason, and I just want you to hum.
Okay.
But I want you to hum and give me a crescendo. And as you're running out of air, I want you to press hard on my hands. And when you run out of air, this gets laughs, okay? So be ready to laugh. I say, when you're running out of air, tighten your glutes. Does everybody know what glutes are? Okay, good. Tighten your glutes as you're running out of air, okay? Now this is just a straight tone moan. Here we go. Slow inhalation and hit a note. You see how my pressing causes you to have a fluctuation of sound. All right, so when you've gotten control of how much those muscles push back, that will be better control for your voice as well. Again, deep. No. Once again,
Okay.
Let's try it again.
All right.
I want the longest, slowest, deepest breath you can take.
Okay.
I want to hear it. Okay, now stop again, and I'm going to tell you, exhale. That was the best I've heard you breathe all morning.
Okay.
This time I want you to not raise your shoulders whatsoever, but put all the power of it into the rib cage.
Okay.
Excellent. Now breathe that note out. Okay. Now, did you feel a little difference in the approach that you took to the note? It seemed like when you concentrated all the air into this rib cage section, into this abdominal area, you had a lot more control over what was happening when I started squeezing. Okay. That is my theory about breathing and breath management. Okay, so now we're going to use it. We're going to do some scales. All right, give us an F chord. So, because you were there anyway. Vibrato at the end. Okay. Just for right now. Okay, now as you sing this next one, when I push in, I want you resisting me.
Okay. So
okay, kind of like, so when you push in, I want to feel, when I push in on you, I want to feel that you're resisting me.
Okay.
That's what's going to give you support for all this air you've taken in, okay? Once again. Stop again. I know you're cheating. I know. That's all right. That's all right. Again.
Okay.
Good. Good. Now you see when I did that, that created vibrato for you.
Right.
That is the source of vibrato in my opinion, in my theory, is how you manipulate this muscle. Or you see?
Leslie. All right.
Like a Leslie, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so then now I want you to start making some vowels and some noises and taking that, moving your neck around and kind of getting your body used to this muscular approach to the midsection being the source of your singing power, okay?
Do you want it pronounced or like just in the back of the throat? Like, that kind of stuff?
I want some of everything.
Okay.
So you do some I-A-E-O-U, you do some ma, me, me, mo, mu, you do some whatever, okay? But I want scales. I want you to take the reins now, because you've got the basic breathing thing down. And don't forget your glutes.
Okay.
All right? So here we go.
Me, me, ma, mo, mu.
Okay? No diphthongs.
Oh, okay.
Make sure your neck is very, very relaxed. Now, I noticed that when you did that and you started moving around, there was a kind of slight pitch fluctuation, because you're learning to shift all this focus of your vocal strength from here, which gets exhausted, to here, which has a lot more energy to burn. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm just loving teaching you. Okay? So do that same thing one more time, and just imagine these hands just trying to squeeze life out of you.
Okay.
Breathe, long, slow, deep. So ask me something.
Now, I've always learned that, like, when you're kind of supposed to be singing, like, from, I guess the conception is that you're supposed to sing from your gut, you know what I mean? So, like, you're always kind of hitting me here.
Well, that for me is only part of the technique when you're saying to a student, sing from your gut. The way I learned was you support from these muscles that gird your abdomen. Mm-hmm. Rectus abdominis, that comes up and girds across to your ribs, and gyrus abdominis, these muscles. Okay, so teachers tell you to really, really support from here, and you take in a lot of air. But this is, to me, belly breathing unevolved, because the evolution of that air, once you get it down here, what do you do with it? How do you control it? So that's why this becomes important, because you never use your voice without this muscle being contracted. It's not going to ever be possible for a human to make a vocal sound without the diaphragm squeezing out the air. So I call it the balloon theory. It's kind of like you've got a thing full of air, a balloon full of air, and you're squeezing out little bits of air and making the balloon. And you have control over how much air you push out of the balloon by this part of your hands. But you also have control over the kind of sound it makes by how far you press it.
Right.
Okay? So, this is your hands. That's all this is. This is support.
Okay.
This is the source, the power, the strength. And once you've taken all this in, what do you do with it? You got to support it. You got to have something to hold it with, to control it, to help your body control holding on to air when you know you should be exhaling, because that's singing is aerobic in that way. You have to take the air, and you have to do a lot of stuff with it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's where the tightening of the gluteal muscles comes in, because you saw when you did that, you had a little bit more left over. So once you get into the gluteal area, you have to get into the hamstring area, and then you have to really engage your whole body so that you're using your body to help you sing stronger, higher, more passionately for longer periods of time.
So when you talk about, getting up early in the morning and getting ready to sing, what are some types of warm-ups that you might recommend?
Well, from the time you roll out of bed, you should be kind of humming. Just kind of checking out where your voice is. Right. Seeing whether you're hoarse or whether you're tired or whether it's hurting, kind of there's inflammation from the drainage that happened during the night. And, you can start getting some of that inflammation, the fluid that has traveled into your lungs possibly, up without coughing. So I usually do a lot of
So you said without coughing. So you're not supposed to. How do you get that stuff out of you?
Well, it's coming up while I'm doing this. And then it gets there at that point where you could either swallow it or cough it, and I usually swallow it.
Okay.
But I also drink a lot of fluid so that I don't have to worry about so much mucus being lodged in my throat anyway. So, and at first I don't worry about the break. They call it the break, okay? I don't worry about the break because eventually as I warm up, it will diminish and eventually not even be there. So I don't worry about so it's how I manage the air that I've taken in, whether it's going to happen anyway. It also has to do with how far up in your register you are. It might have to do with the vowel you're on. So you need to work all of those possibilities out. Then I want you to start working on from the bottom up.
It's a very like diaphragm intensive exercise.
Diaphragmatic musculation. Okay?
So are there any maybe like things with vowels and those that you could combine that you could show me so that we could?
That's one.
Okay.
You try it.
Can you do that one more time? What was the end of it?
Again,
Okay.
So there's three of them. All right. Okay, and then you can do kind of using your own imagination with intervals and eventually evolving into licks. Hey. There you need the diphthong.
Okay.
For the little bit of lickage that's left and you only have a little bit of air left over. Hey.
Are there any exercises that you might do, let's say like you're just about to perform and your range feels like it's maybe a little constrained. Are there any exercises that you know of that really help you to open your range, like the most efficient way that you know how? You know what I mean?
I find a restroom.
Okay.
And I stand in the mirror and I do some deep breathing because I know that if I haven't taken care of my voice before I got to the gig, then I'm going to trash it before the gig is over because I'm not warmed up. So I just love myself really well in the mirror and I smile and I do some deep breathing and then I try to go to the key where there is the toughest lick that you will have to sing that night. Can you think of the hardest song you sing and the lick that's the highest note, and then you try to sing that, but you don't sing it full force, get busy. You kind of sing it, maybe if you have to go to falsetto to sing it because you're so tired, but you're getting your vocal cords used to, and the nasal resonance, used to hearing that sound, used to hearing your voice do that noise. You see?
Okay.
So I would say, Make me a blessing, Lord. Take my life and you know, and I hear where my break is. And each time I do it, I try to get it a little bit smoother and a little bit less obvious that I'm actually breaking into the chest voice. Okay? So then, at least when you get to the microphone, your voice is remembering how to do that, you see. So you're not necessarily warmed up because you're exhausted, but you are ready to do this gig and then take some rest. I can't stress to students rest enough. So there's a lot more to singing and than just throwing your throat out there, throwing your voice out there. All right, now let's get some lickage started, okay? So let me give us a groove, Dan. You with your fabulous funky self. So you could do do that for me. All right, now don't stress your throat.
Okay.
Stress.
So you'd rather have a falsetto then? If
You don't have to have falsetto, no.
Oh.
But I don't want that. I want ma. Operatic. Okay, now this time I want you to do every note in the scale for me this time. All right? Play somewhere you can hear them within the chord progression, okay? Okay. I know you've been used to licking. I know he's been licking all day in church. Okay.
what'd you do?
Mi so do mi so mi do mi do so mi do. Yes. Mi fa mi re do so mi do. That's not do.
I went down.
Okay, good. Again.
Oh, same thing?
Again. Okay, now. So we're enlarging it, and we're giving the breath more function. The breath gets more things to do.
So you mean to flip up at the
Flip
top?
up into your falsetto, and then sing back down.
Okay.
Exactly, exactly. Now at the end of this one, same thing, but give me vowels at the end. Okay, so give it more and more stuff to do.
Okay.
Think about the glutes, think about the ribs.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Make me a blessing. Make me a blessing, Lord. Take my life and make me a blessing to someone today. Go.
Make me a blessing. Make me a blessing, Lord.
And now you're performing like, and make me a blessing to someone today. Your body's engaged.
Make me a blessing.
So you're gonna switch back and forth.
Make me a blessing, Lord.
That muscle's gonna
take my life and make me a blessing for someone today. Make me a blessing. Make me a blessing, Lord. Take my life and make me a blessing for someone today.
Ah, make me a blessing.
Make me a blessing.
Yeah.
Make me a blessing. Make me a blessing for someone today.
Make me a blessing.
Make me a blessing.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. That's really nice. So where's Do? That's right.
You want me to do that?
Okay, now this time I want you to not begin with so much air because you're wasting a lot of your air when you go. You've lost most of the air that you just sucked in. You spent all that time. Okay, so more of a moan. Yeah. Okay, now here we go. You know this song. I sang it with you before.
Okay.
Make me a blessing. Make me a blessing, Lord. Take my life and make me a blessing to someone today. Make me a blessing. Okay? So I want to feel you doing that.
Okay.
Ad-lib in too.
Okay. Make me a blessing. Make me a blessing, Lord.
Don't back up.
Take my life and make me a blessing for someone today. Make me a blessing. Make me a blessing, Lord. Take my life and make me a blessing for someone today.
Think of Mike Tyson. Make me a blessing. Think of
Mike
Mike
Tyson?
Tyson. Yeah, because you're backing up and I want you doing this.
Okay.
You know, treating it like a Okay? Throwing punches.
Make me a blessing. Make me a blessing, Lord. Take my life and
Yes.
make me a blessing.
Yes.
For someone today.
Go.
Make me a blessing.
Switch feet.
Make me a blessing. Oh, take my life and make me a blessing for someone today.
Now keep going, Dan. You gotta have enough air to manage. So I feel you running out of air and trying to use the traditional method of this.
up here, okay.
You see, this throat thing. So I want you to constantly think of this being expanded. So you're taking in the air to do the lick, but you're never running out of air because when you inhale, you're just re-upping on what you use, not on depletion.
Okay.
Go. Lick, run,
Take me a blessing.
make me.
Make me a blessing, Lord. Take my life and make me a blessing for someone today.
Okay, instead of clamping down on your ribs,
Uh-huh.
squeeze up on your buns.
Okay.
All right? Take my life and make me a blessing to someone today. Go.
Make me a blessing.
Yes.
Make me a blessing, Lord. Take my life and make me a blessing for someone today.
So do something like that. So you're working your intervals and you're working your vocalises. Okay.
Up in both range, like falsetto, whatever.
Falsetto, work it, but just. Now do the same thing, falsetto. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. That's how you get more air. Is you start to squeeze that, and for some reason, the support factor just helps to push up whatever's left in the lungs. You see? Okay. It's a good lesson.
Yeah.
Now you sing some.
Oh, make me a blessing. Lord, make me a blessing. Make me a blessing. Take my life, Lord, for someone today. Make me a blessing. Oh, make me a blessing, Lord. Take my life and make me a blessing for someone today.
Make me a blessing.
Make me a blessing.
Make me a blessing, Lord.
Make me a blessing.
Take my life and make me a blessing for someone today. Make me a blessing.
Make me a blessing.
Make me a blessing.
Make me a blessing, Lord, for someone today.
You know, you're staying totally loose and you're putting all the focus of the energy in this part of your body. You see what I'm saying? So let me see you bend some knees. Now, do you dance any? You got these neck moves that everybody's doing, you know. Hey yo, ooh, ah. So you do making your body. Hey yo, ooh, ah.
Hey yo, ooh, ah.
I don't want you to do that. But you sound like you're dying. You look in pain. Try it again. Yeah, where you're taking enough air so that when you get to the point where you have to cross over to your full voice, where you're comfortable in your chest voice, you still got air left over too. So try that one again. That was good.
Okay. So same up there, starting up at the top.
Start up there. Ah, there, you cheated. You cheated. You cheated. Come on
I
again.
take another breath.
You cheated though.
All right.
I tell you why you cheated. Because you didn't take enough air in.
Oh, then I snuck a breath.
And then, no, you didn't sneak a breath, but then you wasted it. When you got up there, you did all the hard stuff up there, and then when you got down here to the full voice, you didn't have anything left over.
So do you think I should be using less air when I'm up in the top in falsetto? Like using...
Yes, I think you should be squeezing it and compressing it into your throat a little bit more.
Okay.
Now that time I heard you had a little bit more in that passaggio area. There was a little bit more flexibility going on because you compressed the air more.
Okay.
Okay, so let's try it again. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. See? Because it was good. That was good. You had a little bit more left.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Now, earlier when we were working on the song, you had me do some movement type things. When you're preparing for a performance, is there any routines or things that you think about that go into the movement that you might do on the stage?
Yes, because each song has its own implications.
Okay.
So you show me how you would sing that song we've been singing, Make Me a Blessing. You know, there'd be some of this, take my life and make me a blessing, you know. That all has to be incorporated into how you manage the breath. Because especially if you're doing any movement or knee bending, it becomes an aerobic, slightly more aerobic exercise than most people think.
Are there any motion things that you think shouldn't be done?
Yeah, well, you know, we won't get into those. Let's do some blues. Let's do some blues. You show me some moves. I wouldn't do any of this kind of stuff. No, I just wouldn't do.
No, I meant more like from a physical aspect, like ways that maybe you shouldn't bend or things that you shouldn't do to try to, or all movement is good.
Well, I think that once I see a lot of singers cocking their knees, and they're kind of got their knees really far back, and that means your tailbone is pushed outward that way. Well, your tailbone needs to be under you, supporting you.
Okay.
That's why I say squeeze the glutes, because that automatically swings that bone forward. But I see a lot of singers, especially women, with shoes on. I wore these shoes for a reason, because you can't go down there, but they're killing me. And you know why? Because I'm not supposed to be wearing them while I sing. But many women do wear very uncomfortable shoes. How can you support yourself when you're so you have to be in a comfortable position, and if you're going to have on the uncomfortable shoes, you're going to swing your tailbone forward, your hips forward, so that you can have the most support from your hamstring and your glutes. Okay, so let's do some blues, and I'll sing the lick and you sing it back to me, and work those glutes and do some movement.
Okay.
Okay? So that's a lot of things you're thinking about at the same time. All right, multi-level technique, okay?
Right. Okay.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Now sway with me.
It's all you.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La le li lo lu 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 la. La le li lo lu.
All right.
That's what you get into before.
Okay,
You're just giving yourself a lot of different stuff to do. Ma me mi ya ye wa we sock sexy.
So anything. I mean, whatever feels comfortable gets you moving. And
that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Cool.
Very nice.
Good
job. So do you get hoarse and what you get vocally exhausted after your gigs? You gig a lot?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's usually from like not taking care, like not getting adequate rest. That kind of thing is when I notice that, you know, it's affecting more, because then you have to rely on technique that much more. And if you're sloppy,
Or your
that's when it will
technique
get
is
you.
sloppy
Yeah,
or
that's what I
ineffective.
mean, right.
Yeah, you drink a lot of coffee too, I bet.
I try not to. 1 cup a day at most.
Lies. But, but it tends to dry you out, huh?
Yeah, it does. Now, I've noticed, though, that also when you sing from different areas, like if you sing down here, you tend to have a more open, you know, sound. And then as you get up higher and higher, your tone changes. So at different times, it seems like different tones would be appropriate. So how
That's
do
right.
you get that tone from your throat without, is there any way to do that? To get like that more, that
Brighter,
brighter
throatier
tone.
sound.
Yeah.
I would say wake up earlier.
Like,
Because when like I sang in church yesterday, and I had to sing 2 songs,
okay.
and they're both up really, really close into the front of my face, which is a very sibilant area, you know, and you're bouncing a lot of this air off of your bridge of your nose. Okay, so you gotta, when you wake up in the morning, you don't have that. So you have to start off earlier, warming that up, working that muscle, the mental muscle and the physical muscles around your face, getting them used to feeling what that feels like with that air bouncing off there.
I see.
You see? You just have to wake up earlier.
Okay.
And don't drink any coffee. Don't drink any coffee because it dehydrates.
I really enjoyed that lesson, Donna.
Thanks. Yeah.
What can you do to get better? What advice do you have for these students who are trying to sing, do things? Maybe they don't have a teacher, or they have a teacher, some words of wisdom?
Well, I would say first thing is work on your breathing. Get to walking and stretching breaths out as long as you can. I have an exercise that I do with the students. Walk for 4 paces breathing in, and walk for 4 paces holding, and then blow out for 4 paces. So it's a 12-step program. Get it? So you're walking, or you're running, or you're
Sure.
hiking, or you're bicycling, and each cycle is, you know, hold, 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 blow, blow. That will really get your body very attuned to breath controlling.
So really, you should be breathing properly all the
Conscious
time.
all the time.
Not just when you go on stage.
Not
That's
just when you get ready
too
to
late.
sing. It's too late then.
It's too late.
That's exactly right. Be working on it constantly. And it's something you can do easily while you're walking down the street, while you're riding in your car, you know, in class. You can be doing it silently, very slowly, concentrating on it while you're doing other things, because that's what singing and performing is.
Right.
And the next thing I would tell people is try to find the best keys for your voice. And if you have a song that's very lovely that Celine Dion did, but you have a voice like Kermit the Frog, you just you need to find it and put it in a key that's comfortable for your Kermit range. And the third thing would be, of course, for me, I work with students in front of the mirror a lot.
So you're always practicing
lot.
for performance then?
Practice. Even when you're singing, even when you're learning the tune, you need to know what you look like when you're not quite sure of the melody.
So what are you looking for when you look in the mirror? If you're moving properly, if your head's properly
You
up
just
there,
get
or-
used to seeing you.
Yeah.
And so therefore, when you get up on stage, you're not paranoid about what you look like to people.
You shouldn't be even thinking about that.
You're not even thinking about it because you've accepted the fact that this is how you look when you're performing by having paid attention a little bit to while you're looking at the music. Oh, okay, yeah, I look like I don't know what this melody is. Okay.
Right, sure.
Those are kinds of things that will give you away. As you know, you need to figure out what makes you look confident, what makes you look romantic, what makes you look very sad. A lot of times people are not conscious that they're looking very angry,
Oh, yeah.
you know? So I work in the mirror a lot.
That's great. Those are great tips. It was really a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
It was really nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
See you.
I It's all you. It's all you.
La 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 la.
La 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 la. La 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 la.